And my neighbor is still drumming.
I get to do Halloween stuff tomorrow. I'm so excited. It's only been a fucking month of not doing anything.
I know. I still got to carve a jack-o'-lantern.
Same here. That's
do you guys bake the pumpkin seeds after you do the jack-o'-lanterns?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I get baked.
That's one way of enjoying carving a jack-o'-lantern, I guess.
No, I can't get baked because I worked for the True Green, and the True Green does the testing. So if I hit someone's mailbox, I will be going to the test center.
But if you haven't had Brian baked pumpkin seeds, are really freaking good.
Yeah.
You have to scoop them all out and soak them in salt water, and then separate obviously the.
Who are you guys talking about?
Pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds.
2 minutes and
Papitas.
Pumpkin spiced pumpkin seeds.
I'm calling pumpkins.
I put a little salt and a little pepper on them. Yeah, you can put some cinnamon on them. They're freaking delicious if you bake them.
I love the fall season, not just because of pumpkins, but it's like the perfect weather before like the fucking nuclear winter apocalypse that December and January and February bring us here on the East
March. It goes into March here in Illinois.
Oh, really?
Yeah, same here.
We had a couple snow days in March here. They were a travesty.
I'm on a live webcast right now. I can't talk.
I'll be back.
It's important. God damn it.
Renee's like, I'll be back.
You leave me alone.
All right. So this is going to be a fun episode.
Oh, I gotta close my door. Hold on. Thank you both for being here, Nate and Renee. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Always good to chat horror with you guys.
Especially Halloween, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
So we're about to begin.
It says we're live.
I mean our actual discussion. And what's going to happen is I'm gonna write spoilers when we go into spoilers, of course. So in the beginning we can just introduce ourselves, and I have your guys' names already up, and I know that Vincent wants to join later.
If he can, yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to him earlier. Make sure you don't call him Vincent. What'd you call him, Vincente?
It's spelled Vincente, but I guess
just call him Vince. He's okay with that because that's what I call him. I think Rene. What do you call him, Rene?
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are live here on THS Lives tonight. We are talking our Halloween episode. We're talking everything Halloween because we had the 2018 sequel to the 1978 Halloween movie directed by John Carpenter. But we have a great lineup for you tonight, and you're going to see on the screen that we're going to write spoilers when we get into the spoiler section. Not right now because, spoiler alert, we're introducing ourselves. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at The Horror Jew, but you can follow me right here on Facebook at Brian Enright. And of course, Jared, let me set you up through the audio. And Jared, go ahead.
Good evening, Brian, and this wonderful power panel we have tonight. You guys can find me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau, or follow me on Twitter. I have a few followers at zombie_survivor. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have our president of the Horror Syndicate, Razor. Ray, good evening.
Hey, everybody. I'm just sitting here listening to my fucking neighbor drum while I'm actually like getting into the beat, though. I shouldn't be so sad. Anyway, follow me on Instagram at Razor33 for my 31 days of horror shirts. And this is actually my third one of the day, so, Halloween.
Triple dip.
Yeah, triple dip. I'm going to use this one for tomorrow. Okay, back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you very much. And introducing our first guest of tonight, he is the director of the fan film Spirit of Haddonfield. Here we are. We have director Rene Rivas. Rene, good evening.
Great to be here, gents. It's been about a little over a month since we last chatted.
Yeah. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, nice to have you back, brother.
Great to be back.
And,
Looking forward to chatting.
Yeah, and you know, of course, we hope you know a thing or two about the Halloween franchise.
Couple things.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight, brother. And of course, we have our second guest of the evening. He is an artist. He's worked for Scream Factory, releasing on a couple of the Halloween movies, such as Halloween 2, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And he's a filmmaker as well. Let's introduce Nathan Thomas Milliner. Nathan, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, guys. Thanks for having me back.
Always a pleasure.
Well, hold on. What did Mike Lombardo call you? Was it
Thomas?
Thomas? Yeah. Okay.
You got two first names. No, it's a middle name.
Right. We got to keep him here in spirit since you can't be here tonight. So there you go.
His middle name Vince.
In spirit.
All right. So a little prelude in tonight's episode. So most of you have known that Halloween 2018 or Halloween H4O or whatever you want to call it has made over $100 million domestic and foreign in this week alone. So a lot of people are coming to the theaters. They're seeing the Halloween movie, and we're getting this is from what a filmmaker friend of mine, Steve Carino, has said. This is the horror fans' last Jedi, as he put into the words. It is the major split in the horror community. There are people who absolutely love and think this is the best Halloween movie ever made amongst the younger generations. And of course, you have the other side, which thinks it's okay, but Halloween 2, 1981, and Halloween 4 are much superior. So we're going to get into all of that tonight. So so John Carpenter got together, Jamie Lee Curtis. They're both executive producers of the Halloween 2018 movie, directed by David Gordon Green, who has directed The Pineapple Express. Now he's venturing into horror with his good friend Danny McBride. Yep. I think, Nathan, you brought up before that Danny McBride always wanted to be a horror maker. He always wanted to be a horror filmmaker.
Yeah, he went to film school to be a screenwriter, and everything he wrote were horror or fantasy films. And actually, I was reading today that David, he had mentioned that David, his goal was to make a Suspiria film, and actually he was working on the Suspiria remake before this for like 10 years and didn't get to make it. Oddly enough, it's weird that it's coming out the same year he made Halloween.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But Danny said in college that David's dream was to make Suspiria, or his Suspiria. So, I mean, they were both horror fans. I mean, people who attacked them right away, I thought, I mean, these guys are the same age I am. I mean, they grew up with the slasher genre. Yeah, it's like all of us did. But it's funny, people automatically think, everybody likes to make everybody one-dimensional, basically, is what happens. So, like, oh, I'm into horror, so I can't make an action film or a comedy or something.
Sorry, quick. Couple things here on Facebook land. I want to get into it before we get into it. Russell Neal says, I seriously dug every moment of this movie. Glad to see a slasher take it seriously. Jennifer Penn says, love the intro, guys. Brian White says, hi. Justin Simpson says, the bathroom scene was cool. Frankie Carter, laughing face. Jennifer Penn's, love the shirt, Ray. From Jennifer Penn's. Frankie Carter, Jaws. Hashtag GOAT. So that's for Rene right there from Frankie Carter.
My buddy Frankie.
We have Russell Neal again. Here come the sequels. Cody Falk.
Dude,
what's up, horror peeps? Cody Falk is the director of the fan film Voorhees. And Russell Neal again, Split. Everyone I've run across has universally liked it.
Not me, not my timeline. Holy crap.
Yeah. We're going to get into it.
It literally is like The Last Jedi. When I got out of Last Jedi, my friend like completely split, and that's how Halloween's been. I was too. I was split between at first I was like, and then the more I thought about it, the more I talked about it, I actually do like it. So I'm done for the night now. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let me get this fun up. You guys want to mention anything else before we get into spoilers?
You want to shout out your movie, Rene? Just in case anybody hasn't seen it.
If you haven't seen the short fan film, The Spirit of Haddonfield yet, go check it out. It's a homage piece paying tribute to the original Halloween film, my personal favorite of all time. And yeah, it's just a fun little tip of the hat to the original John Carpenter's Halloween. Short little 19-minute Halloween ride, not too much character development, just a quick little in-your-face Halloween story. But yeah, go check it out for free on YouTube.
Yeah, I really like the I really like the simplicity of your short film. You definitely captured that essence of the boogeyman, which is what Halloween originally was all about. And then but really enjoyed it.
I was gonna say I'm very happy that you were able to pull off the look of Illinois. I live in Illinois, and you were what, in Arizona? So.
Yeah, that's actually that's the seed of the whole short film. Going back about 6 or 7 years, there's a specific stretch of neighborhood in Flagstaff that even like way back then, I wanted to use that specific neighborhood for a different script that I was writing at the time, and ultimately scrapped that story. And that's kind of the seed of the whole Spirit of Haddonfield short film, was that specific stretch of neighborhood, just because it's always reminded me of Haddonfield. It looks like it, and it was a fun little fill-in for Haddonfield, for the Spirit of Haddonfield. But,
of course. And for you, Rene, we'll post up the link for your film on this episode in the comments section. So those who have not seen it, you will be able to get to see the link posted in the comments section on this live video, and after it's over. So,
well, and while you're at YouTube, go check out the Confession of Fred Krueger, Milliner's film.
Yep,
it's a pretty freaking great. It's a couple years old though, so.
Had the pleasure of
after the podcast. Listen to us talk shit and then watch.
Yeah, how did that screening go, Rene? In Idaho, right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I had the pleasure of seeing the Confession of Fred Krueger out at the Idaho Horror Film Festival for, as far as I know, might be the very first fan film block ever created for a fan film. It was specifically 4 short films that were all tribute pieces stacked next to each other, and got to see Spirit of Haddonfield, Confession of Fred Krueger, Gremlins Recall, and then Never Hike Alone. It was a lot of fun, and actually I took a picture of the Confession of Fred Krueger title card, and I still gotta send that to you. It looks pretty cool on the big screen. Whole lot of fun though.
That theater was insane looking, man. I was jealous. I couldn't be there.
Oh man,
it was fun. People had a lot of good times with it.
That's really cool.
I'll have to go check it out. I haven't seen it yet, but I will. I'll get around to it. It's on YouTube, right?
Which one?
Confessions of Fred Krueger.
Yeah. Shame on you.
Yes. For shame.
That'll be my homework tonight, Nathan. All right. So here we go. Any last words from anyone before we enter the spoilers?
Any last words?
Hold on to your butts.
All right. Here we go. Transitioning in 3, 2, 1. We are now in the red zone. If you are watching Facebook right now, you can see the red bold letters spelling out the word spoilers. We're getting into it, ladies and gentlemen. Halloween 2018. So first off, I want to hear from all you guys. What did you think? Anyone go first?
Not it.
I'll start. I mean, I think it's safe to say there was a hell of a lot of anticipation leading up to the release of this film. Like, even I remember following it, going all the way back to when it was supposed to be Marcus Dunstan taking on this project. And then, like, fast forward a year and a half later, the whole, like, Jason Blum saying, I'm going to cut off my hand if this thing isn't released. Fast forward to it being released. Saw it on the opening day, and I just definitely have to start off by saying it was a fucking blast. I absolutely loved the new Halloween movie. Tip my hat to David Gordon Green and Danny McBride. I loved it. I had a blast, but I'm not afraid to say I definitely had some issues with it. And these weren't preconceived issues that, you know, I'm sure we all watched a lot of spoilers, reviews about the film post-release. Like, directly walking out of the theater, I went and saw it with my girlfriend, and my one of my best friends, who's also a producer on the Spirit of Haddonfield, like directly out of the theater, walking to the car, he looks at me and he's like, "You all good?" And I'm like, I was just like deeply analytical at that point. I was really processing what we had just saw. And he's just like, "You didn't like it, did you?" And I said, I really liked it. I want to let you know that I really liked it, but I have some issues with it. I don't know if you want me to go into the issues now or just kind of stop there and then we can talk about those issues here in a little bit.
No,
Yeah,
let's
let's stop and then go into the issues later, because I think I'm on the same page you are. At first I was like, I didn't see anything new, and my brother's a big Halloween fan, and I talked to him about it. I stayed as far away from spoilers. I watched the 2 trailers, and I saw one.
Yeah, me too.
I saw one movie or a TV spot because I didn't want to know anything that was going on, because with a movie like this, with every Halloween, my brother and I always theorize and speculate, and my theories. We had three main theories, and they all were right. And I was like, that sucks. That really upset me that I was that dead on to what I thought would happen. But after talking about it, I did a Facebook Live sometime Sunday evening, and more people were chiming in, talking about it with me. And the more that I thought about it, the more it started to kind of sit with me. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm not that upset about it. The one thing I'm upset about it, and this may be just me, is omitting the Laurie Strode, Michael Myers sibling thing, because there was almost no need to omit Halloween 2 to me. But anyway, who's next? On how they feel.
Let's just go down the line.
Go ahead, Nathan. How did you feel about the new Halloween movie?
I really liked it. I the first initial experience is probably like you guys were, which is kind of hard to avoid nowadays anyway, because we are so in tune with everything from before it's even written to when it's released. Like I said, the spoilers, the trailers, we get so much stuff, and we've had almost a decade since we've had one. So you get all that anticipation. So the first viewing is always like that. You're waiting to see what you've envisioned in your head, what people have theorized and the rumors and what you think the trailer means. Are you waiting for that scene in the trailer? Are you doing it? So you almost watch it like you got a checklist and you're checking things off. Where is this going to happen? And what's going to happen here? So I always feel like a movie this big that we've waited so long for, you can never go off your first watch, because you're going to walk out feel like not knowing, because it's too much to carry. You got so much baggage. So when you go back to the second time, which I did today, you don't have that baggage anymore. You don't have any of those preconceptions or those theories. You know what movie you're going to get. You can pay more attention to it and enjoy it more. So when I saw it today, I walked out saying, I don't have any problems with this movie. I really, really like it. I think it's the best sequel since Part 4. I think it's my favorite since in the last 30 years, really. Can I rank it yet? To me, that's like saying, well, I've lived 30 years with Part 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I can't replace that. It's kind of like, hey, I've loved this thing for 30 years. I can't say, yeah, I saw this thing and I love it more than those things. So that's hard, but I think it's just as good as any of the sequels, actually. Seeing it the second time. So that's my stance on it. I have one beef with it. It's just the opening credits are too fast.
Yes.
Way too fast.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
With the pumpkin coming up.
Well, yeah. Like the names, like they're on screen like that. I'm like, you can't even read who's in the movie, and that's why is that so fast?
That was the producer cut.
Yeah, I leaned over to my brother's like, hey, is the credits going kind of fast here? He's like, yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah. Just had more people in it, I guess, or involved.
So that was that's my only beef. I mean, I could, nitpick all day like everybody else, but I watched it the second time and I started picking up on things and getting the explanations. I haven't engaged with anybody all week. I haven't talked about it. I haven't read about it. I've scanned through, usually I just get into long, 5-hour debates with people. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'll read it and I just keep scrolling on, and it's like, so this is actually the first time I've ever said anything about it. But yeah, that's I've just avoided it because it's just, I've seen everybody's complaints, and I have answers for all of them, really. When I watched the movie today, I saw But people bitching about things. I'm like, well, you're not interpreting it right. This is how it actually is. Which is usually the case. People are misreading things.
You saved all that angst for this live stream.
Yeah. I don't get angry about it, but yeah, I liked it.
Jared.
Well, I mean, kind of like like you guys said, like going into a movie knowing what you might expect. I went into it with literally no expectations. I wasn't expecting the best. I wasn't expecting the worst. But I mean, once the beginning scene came in, and the guy and the girl, I don't know the characters' names. I just watched it last night, and it came in to visit Michael at the home, and he pulled out the mask, and just that music just boomed in the theater, and I was just like, okay, here we go. And from then on, I was kind of fucking hooked, and coming out of it, only seeing it once, I'm still like wishy-washy, but the dialogue fucking had me cracking my ass up. I'm not gonna lie, like Danny McBride and Gordon Green, they did a really good job of implementing humor at, like, you know, not in your face, but just kind of in situational parts, and it really was effective. But
there's a lot of people bitching about that too.
Yeah, in the theater I was in last night, it was very effective.
Oh yeah, me too. I enjoyed it.
Especially the little black kid that was getting babysat. He cracked me up so much.
When he told her to send the boyfriend upstairs first.
Yeah.
I'll send him first.
He could be a good babysitter and be reading me a book, but here I am clipping my nasty ass toes on this couch.
Ooh.
He was a cool dude, and you definitely could see the Danny McBride sense of humor and like his colloquial and that scene.
Oh, for sure. Don't go upstairs, you're gonna die. How about you, Brian? You're last.
All right. Well, I know I've been posting about it, and I've been posting about, like, I don't understand certain things, like why people hate this movie, because I did see a lot of negative feedbacks on the movie, and the only thing I can say is it's probably when you saw the original Halloween movies, like Nathan was mentioning, you know, like people have been living with these movies for 30 years, and here comes a Halloween movie, a contender out of you know, waiting for so long. Finally showing up to the light of day, and then, you know, of course, people are going to have like that stigma going into it, saying, "Oh, it's going to be nothing like the sequels. I can't believe they rewrote all this, but we're going to go on a fresh start." I went in with a fresh start, knowing that John Carpenter hated writing the movie Halloween 2. That he admitted to being drunk the entire time he was writing this script. And he really just did this because it was kind of like pressured on him to make a sequel to Halloween. Him and Deborah Hill originally wanted to end Halloween where it was. It was the boogeyman. He comes out. You don't really know anything about this guy besides him killing his family. But people wanted more, which is why Season of the Witch gets barred for being Season of the Witch. Which I'm thankful that the new Halloween movie referenced the redheaded stepchild of the entire saga, which was Halloween 3 Season of the
Resurrection?
Witch. Oh. Resurrection.
The Resurrection Church or whatever it was.
But going into it, it was like you could see that when they all collaborated that they tread the waters carefully. And in doing so, they went back to the original movie and kind of copycat a lot of different scenes from the original movie, like the couple's death, the babysitter with the sheet over her body, kind of like the ghost that Michael, like the sheet that Michael Myers wore in the original movie, and then of course the boyfriend getting stabbed and impaled against the wall. And they had a lot of scenes that were kind of resembling the original movie because they wanted to keep it like the original movie. And I absolutely thought that this was the best Halloween sequel out of the whole entire saga, because I didn't grow up with Halloween like you guys did. I watched the first Halloween when I was a kid, and then the Halloween movies I watched them later in my teenage years. Not really frequently as much, but as more of an when I became an adult, I watched the Halloween movies, and I didn't really care for the sequels. I didn't care for Part 4, 5, and hearing that they were all just because fans wanted more Michael Myers, and the original movie was supposed to end with the first Halloween movie, but they made a second movie, and then there's the questions of how did Dr. Loomis and Michael Myers survive getting burned alive in a hospital. And Dr. Loomis, you see him in the other movies, and he's got like a scar on the like right side of his cheek or whatever, and
his hand. Don't forget his hand.
And his hand and whatever, and Michael Myers can see, like he has like 20/20 vision, and if I recall, he got shot in the fucking eyeballs in the second movie, but whatever, they exist, people like them. But it was really cool to see that John Carpenter and Jamie Lee Curtis were like 100%, let's do this. Jamie Lee Curtis really wanted to tackle Laurie Strode again because she was best friends with Deborah Hill in the beginning, and she even said in interviews that Laurie Strode is Deborah Hill, and she wanted to give Deborah Hill that one last moment on the screen, which I really appreciated, and she did one hell of a job reviving that role of Laurie Strode, and she refers to Michael Myers in the movie as the Shape. So it really kind of just shuns the sequels out of the way, where she's just like, oh, I know his name by heart, Michael Myers, which I'm sure she knows who he is after so many years of
being institutionalized.
Yeah. But the one thing that bothered me about Halloween 2018 is how the fuck did they capture Michael Myers? Like, if he was so hard to catch in the first movie, how did they catch him? They never really went into that, and I hope they don't make a sequel because I think
hard to catch. They couldn't find him.
Who tried to catch him in the first movie, though? We never saw anybody trying to catch him.
They were trying to find him.
Following people and killing people.
Yeah,
they looked out the window and he was gone, and that was the end.
Yeah, that's my only big issue with Halloween 2018 is how did he get caught? They're just like, oh, he was caught, and now he's been institutionalized for 40 years, and so forth. And
40 years.
Yeah.
Well, the original intent was to change, as you guys know, was to change the original ending, and John Carpenter was like, that's not going to happen. Like, initially, Dr. Loomis wasn't supposed to make it through the end of part 1, so John Carpenter's like, no. And they were supposed to explain how he got caught, but ultimately that got shelved. And who knows, maybe if there is a sequel, they'll pepper that into the beginning, but yeah, it's definitely ambiguous and kind of left up.
He was shot 6 times or whatever, right? So, like,
he fell out the window.
There doesn't mean he didn't.
Passed out 10 steps away.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
This is what reality kicks in.
Oh, there he is over there at the neighbor's house.
Yeah. The neighbor who was trick-or-treated to death.
We think we found him. He's passed out on our front lawn. How about that final showdown between Laurie Strode and the 3 generations, or the 2 other generations of Strode, women, and fighting against Michael Myers in that fortress. I personally thought that was fucking awesome.
It was cool because it was reversed, but I really liked Judy Greer in the basement pointing the rifle up at Michael and saying she couldn't do it. Spoiler alert. And, just playing that part, that was awesome.
That was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah, that may have been my favorite moment. And then you see Laurie's face, just like Michael's, pop out of the shadow. You're like, oh, fuck. It's like, yeah.
And this isn't a shelter. This is a trap.
Yeah, it's in a cage. It's a cage.
A cage.
I know a lot of people did not like the Doctor, the Dr. Loomis protege, whatever his name was.
Sartain?
Yeah.
Sartain?
I felt like he was just added into the movie to be like, this is everyone's obsession with the later sequels. Like, that's how it felt to me.
I think my take one, because I've been seeing a lot of people complain about him, and of course Michael would have another doctor replace Loomis. Doctor. So, and I don't think he was as cryptic as Loomis was. He wasn't doing those long monologues and speeches. So, but they even winked at us when Laurie says, "Oh, you're the new Loomis."
Yeah,
winking at the audience.
Yeah,
That's what the audience is thinking, and so they're kind of covering their ass with that line. Oh, you're the new Loomis, but he doesn't turn out to be the new Loomis. He's actually also the monster made by the monster kind of thing. I really, my first reaction when I saw it happen was like, oh shit, no. You know, I did not like it the first time I saw it. It was the same reaction I had when Dr. Wynn and the cult showed up in part 6, and I'm like, no one controls the shape. You know, I was pissed at that. But after a while, I really dug that I kind of looked at it like, if you're, he talks about, you know, when we first see him, he's talking about Loomis was the only guy to see him in the wild. And I think he was just so obsessed with that whole idea. And it's kind of like if you study sharks and you never got to see a shark in action.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Just infatuated.
Like, that happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like I thought about like Jarhead, where, you know, Jake is trained to be a sniper and kill somebody. He never gets to take a shot.
Yeah.
Everything, and that's what it's like. It's like he spent 40 years with this guy. He's never gotten anything out of him. So it's the point where I need to see it.
I want to know what makes him tick.
I want to know and I need to see him. I need to see what Loomis saw, because that's what his later said.
So do you think he orchestrated everything then?
He did it. Yeah.
Okay, that was my theory going in, and
because people thought Lori did it, and I said I don't think so. I think Lori, when she breaks down at the restaurant, she starts crying. I think it's because she went there to kill him, and she chickened out, and she's angry at herself.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not right.
And that also adds to the ambiguity because they don't show you how the bus crashed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
these fans up to their own devices.
Yeah, which I thought was effective because it happened, and then you're dealing with the aftermath. You don't see it happen. It's like the guy with his father, or the kid and his dad, where they're going out hunting, and they just come across it. It's like, what the fuck? Okay, here we go.
You're running away to dance class.
I mean,
Yeah. I want to dance.
on the other side of the spectrum, that's kind of one of the things that kind of pulled me out was I get what they were doing, but we're kind of led to believe that Dr. Sartain is going to be a recurring character, and that's when I was watching the film. That's what I figured. Like, they're probably going to make a sequel. It's more than likely going to happen, and I was thinking that he was going to be a part of it. And when we got that twist, it was just kind of like, oh, this guy is none more than a plot mechanism. You know, he's almost not necessarily a throwaway character, because I don't know. I'm still processing that on how I feel about it, and the way he took, spoiler alert, the way he took out Mike Patton's character, just, I don't know. I was just really scratching my head in the theater because I really enjoyed Mike Patton's character, and I also assumed that he was going to be a character that was part of the subsequent sequels, if there are them, because he was a much stronger character than the sheriff. And you know, it definitely was a huge twist, but I'm still mulling on it whether I liked it or not.
I wonder if it was to kind of get rid of the woodsman thing, where you get the male that comes and saves the woman thing. Because if Will Patton had survived and Sartain had survived, then we would expect them to come and save Lori and save the women. That doesn't happen. They're out.
That makes sense.
That's really what it is. I think because Will Patton was all about killing Michael, and that's why Sartain killed him, because he wanted to blow his head off. And
yeah,
they stopped it because it's like, no, you're not going to kill my shark. I want to see it bite. I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. So I think that was kind of a way. It was kind of a way to get the men out of the picture, the woodsmen out of the picture, and let the Red Riding Hood win the day. You know, kind of.
The woodsman gets stabbed to death and then ran over by a vehicle. It was, I was laughing. Everyone else was like, "Oh my god!" I was cracking up laughing during that scene. I just thought it was silly. I loved it.
Did you guys find the continuity error funny when he basically just throws the mask in the back seat, and then like 3 seconds later, the Shape is wearing the mask?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still mulling on it, but that was definitely one of my gripes.
That was a very quick editing move. I'd say they could have played that off a little better.
Yeah, my initial response to him was I didn't like when he twisted and turned and stabbed the guy, and I was like, oh no. We put the mask on, like, don't tell me he's going to be the shape from on or something ridiculous like that. And so part of me was glad that he did get killed because I didn't want to see that go on, but I do think it was premature. I would have liked to see him come back because he was a character. I found him interesting. You know, they could have had a sequel where he's in the mental institution and they're talking to him. That could have been some really cool, you know, Exorcist 3 kind of conversations in the, you know, with a guy who's just fucked up and crazy.
He could have survived getting his brain smashed in.
Reconstructive surgery.
All the king's men, all the king's horses. There, you know?
Well, I mean, Dr. Hill survived Reanimator. Why can't Dr. Sartain?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a Johnny Got Your Gun. He's just using Morse code now to talk.
Oh my God, that novel, that movie, classic.
Did you guys ever pick up on the fact that maybe Sartain is a play on Sam Hain?
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think of that.
Can we backtrack a little bit and talk about the humor? Because that,
Yeah.
I mean,
For sure, yeah.
obviously, film is subjective, and everyone is going to process and digest it in one way or another. But granted, I had a fucking blast watching this movie in the theater. I was cracking up at every single joke, but I also was distracted. There were certain scenes where they're trying to heighten the tension and really, you know, just make it a tense scene. And when there's a joke cracked, it just completely dissolves all that tension.
Flattens it.
And I kind of felt that it's a possibility that maybe there was 80% suspense and 70% suspense and 30% humor. Maybe it should have been 80-20. Because there were a couple of moments where I did laugh in the theater, but kind of was just like, okay, like let's get this train going again. Because the whole don't get me wrong, I love fun banter. The whole police peanut butter jelly banter going on, that was a blast. But it just kind of felt like that could have been a scene that lived on the cutting room floor to give us more Jamie and Michael Myers action. But immediately walking out of the first screening, that's the first thing that came out of my mouth talking to Brian. I was distracted by a lot of the humor, and I thought it was great. It was funny, well-placed, cheeky humor, but at the same time, it kind of took me out a little bit. But that's the Danny McBride writing style. You know, I kind of went into this movie knowing that we're going to have a good amount of dick and balls jokes peppered out throughout the movie.
Right.
But it was fun, but there were a few instances where I was just like, like for example, the closet scene that we all saw in the theater. I don't know about you guys, but there was like no tension leading up to her going up to the door. It was pretty much fun banter between them, and it's just like, oh, it's Michael Myers right here. I don't know. I obviously we all could say I would have done it differently, but that scene ultimately in my eyes is like the iconic replication of a closet scene, and it just kind of felt like it was leaned more towards humor than suspense. And I don't know, that's the route it took, but I found it to be an interesting route.
I'm more angry that it was revealed in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the trailer, and that kind of ruined it anyway. So
It needed an Exorcist 2 Heretic trailer. That's what it needed.
A batshit crazy trailer.
A batshit crazy trailer where everything that happens in the trailer does not happen in the movie.
And to piggyback what you were saying, Rene, the scene that I can think of that really kind of threw me as like, you know, this humor didn't need to take place was when Patton and Michael were in the house. Jamie takes her pepper shot at him, and he runs out, and she turns around, and it's Patton, and she almost blows his face off, and then they say something kind of funny, and it kind of loses you in the mood because that entire scene was really, really intense. I don't remember the exchange that they said, but Jamie Lee Curtis said something like kind of cheeky and sarcastic to him, and I was just like, okay, this is not – it didn't feel realistic for that point in time.
I don't remember that.
You guys remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, he hits him in the face with a gun. Accidentally.
I think she says something like, I almost blew your fucking head off.
Well, she says something after that too, and I was like, that was not needed. I can't remember. I don't have the movie dictated.
Yeah, I need to go see it again. I didn't want to at first. I was like, no, I'm good. But now I really, after sitting on it for a week, want to go see it again. See what I missed.
I went and saw it for the second time 3 days ago. I went and saw it by myself, and I definitely surrendered the analytical flag. I just went in there for pure entertainment at this point. And I did like it the second time around much more because, you know, upon watching it the first time, as we've said before, like precedence is set so high, so we have such high expectations, and we're dissecting and we're questioning every move that every character makes. So the first time around, you're just like, why did you do that? Why'd you do that? And then upon the second time around, it's just like it's mulled a little bit, and it's kind of it's like a moment of acceptance of what it is as a whole. So that's how it was for me. Like, I know what I didn't necessarily like about it, but I'm just going to watch it and enjoy it the second time around because this is what it is. There's no changing it. This is what it is. So I liked it much more the second time around.
It was a surprise to me. Like, that's the thing. I think I sat through the theater, like, watching it and waiting for things to happen. And going in a second time, you do get to relax, you know. And that's, like, except for when I saw The Last Jedi the second time. But I swear my heart was like 150 beats per minute when I was watching that. I've come to terms with that movie, but anyway, yeah. So I need to go see it again. Nate, you saw it. You're the most recent viewer, I guess.
Yeah.
How did it feel the second time around?
It was fun. It was my daughter's first movie in a horror film in a theater, so that was kind of fun. But the first time, despite how you got all the anticipation, I got to see it on Sunset Boulevard at the Cinerama Dome in Los Angeles. I was on vacation there. I got so lucky with this film because we were on our 15th wedding anniversary in Los Angeles. And
very cool. Congrats, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Wednesday night we go down to Hollywood Boulevard. I didn't want to go to Hollywood Boulevard, but she wanted to go see it. So we're down there and we're walking back to the car, and like they have the sidewalk right there in Grauman's shut down. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Well, I see this big giant Myers house. It's the premiere. And I'm like, holy shit, they're premiering for Halloween tonight. And I go across the street to get a photo, and all of a sudden here comes Jamie Lee Curtis right past us.
Whoa.
Holy crap, man. So anyway, we got lucky there. I went on home, but the next day we were out somewhere, and we needed to get back to our hotel to go see Halloween in Anaheim where we were staying. And I said, we're going to be stuck in traffic for 2 hours because it's rush hour time. So let's just go somewhere. We were in Beverly Hills. So I was like, let's look where we're at. And so I looked, and it's like, well, there's this Cinerama Dome like 10 minutes away on Sunset. So we went down there, and we buy our tickets like an hour before the show. And there's a replica of the Myers house in the lobby, and Michael Myers and Jamie Lee Curtis's costume. And I go up there and look, and it's the screen used costumes and everything there. I'm like, holy shit. And I got to see it. And this theater, they won't let you, it's like Hitchcock, they won't let you in after the movie starts. They have a guy come out and present it. No texting, there's no talking. They will get your ass out of there.
Wow.
And the audience was so great. Like you talked about when Judy Greer said that line, gotcha, bang, the crowd just erupted. I mean, every joke, every great moment like that where Michael looks down and sees Laurie gone, people just erupted and, applause. It was like this classic experience of watching horror movies that I remember when I was a kid. Everybody applauded when it was over. Yeah. So I had a great experience just because of that audience energy, and everybody was having a great time and responding correctly to it. So today I saw it kind of pretty much an empty theater with my daughter, and it was great because I was with her and I didn't have all that baggage. But I had two really dramatically different experiences watching it.
Mm-hmm. And, that's really interesting.
Really like it. Go ahead.
That's really interesting you saying that, because more or less when you saw it at the premiere, you're sitting with a crowd of diehard fans. And when I saw it the day of the premiere, it was pretty much just general public, and it was a very different response. And I remember when the title credits or the end credits hit the screen, the theater was crickets. And I was wondering throughout the whole theater, the whole showing, I was like, are people going to give this a standing ovation? How are people going to receive this? But it was pretty much, it was not what I was expecting it to be. It's maybe general public watches these films in a different way than we do.
Entertainment. Maybe if you're going to Cinerama on Sunset in LA, you're you're a movie person, you know. Just like probably go there. I mean, but the thing is, we went and saw Stars Born the night before, and the audience was kind of the same. They was very active and standing ovations and applause at the end. So maybe it's just a different culture. You know, it's Hollywood. You know, it's
So is Lady
we're not
Gaga
impressed with
gonna get a
anything.
nomination?
What's that?
So is Lady Gaga gonna get a nomination?
Maybe. I mean, I liked it. I don't know if she's Oscar material.
Good old LA. I got to go back out there. I'm, you know, being such a film nerd, I gotta do everything LA, and sucks here on the East Coast.
I need to get with you about all the places you saw, because I need to. My son and I want to go out there this summer and do the same thing. Go to all the, especially the Green Master house, Allison Rick's house. So I'm gonna. You better help me out.
I wanna steer into Facebook land real quick. We got a bunch of comments.
Oh shit.
We'll start with Nick Wood. And we'll go down the list of what I have right here. Nick Wood says, "What was your favorite scene in the entire movie, Nathan, in the 2018 film?"
Well, my favorite scene in all Halloween franchise is the Elrod scene in Part 2. And so that homage to Elrod scene in this was pretty spectacular. I really love the Wonder. I love, because they did that. That was what I think they meant when they said, we're going to take Michael back to that, where that random violence, where he's just going house to house. Pause. I'm going to go for them. No, I'm going to go for this person. I'm going to go in this house, come out the house, go next door, kill this girl. No, go in this house and kill this person. And that to me is like that's what made Michael Myers frightening in the original film, was that concept of this guy in the suburbs just going house to house and murdering people. Like motorized murder, basically. It's just like you're not in a camp, you're not at a, you know, you're not in your dream world, you're just some guy out there at large in the streets. You don't know where he's at, and if he happens upon your house, you're dead. He's gonna come in.
Yeah, it's not like he's a deity of a satanic cult or anything like that.
Yeah.
Purely and simply evil.
David McMahon, actor David McMahon says, "I really wanted to love it. I really, really want to do. LOL. Wanted to." Okay, corrected that. Yeah. That's why we're here, man. Because there is that split in people who love it and people who think it ranks with the with Resurrection Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Let me phrase that. Frankie Carter says, "I know Ray didn't like the Loomis tape playing, but I loved it. In fact, it was the one time I got goosebumps."
Frankie, me too, dude.
Listen.
I heard Donald Pleasant's voice in the theater. I kind of started getting goosebumps.
That was not him.
What was your problem, Ray?
It was his character, though.
Listen, my favorite thing about the Halloween films is not the Shape or Laurie. It's Donald Pleasance as Loomis. I absolutely love him. That's probably why I love 4. Probably almost.
He's my favorite horror character.
Oh yeah, I mean, other than Freddy Krueger, he's my favorite horror character. But I love Donald Pleasance in general.
Yeah.
But as Dr. Loomis, I mean, he was great in 4. I mean, he was. One of my favorite scenes in all the series is the scene where he's in the truck with the guy. You're hunting, and I can
see there, man.
That's great. Yeah, I love that, and I love when he smiles too. But anyway, Dr. Loomis's voice on the recorder didn't bother me. It bothered me that it didn't sound a goddamn thing like him. That's what bothered me about it. So
it did.
It was close. It was close.
I just rolled my eyes like, come on, they couldn't find something that sounded more close.
Robot voices that they mash up nowadays, right?
It sounded like garbage to me. I mean,
it was close though. It wasn't like he was like, "Oh Lordy, I found Michael."
They should have got Mr. Sayre today. You just got Malcolm McDowell to do it. That'd have been better.
Jesus.
Lauren Lupree, director of The Dark Military, says, "Horror fans, you realize you won't pay money to watch Jamie Lee Curtis fight Mike Myers 5 times now. Pass the torch to the future indie guys. The producers of those movies are laughing at you. I won't be watching this film
over and over. He doesn't like remakes or sequels. Move along."
Okay. Frankie Carter says, "That's my Bruce. Don't shoot it." Ryan White replying to Laura, the producers of the movie were fans. Wasn't a big budget studio production. Francisco Franco saying, "Just showing my support. Can't be there until I see the damn movie."
Sorry.
Sorry
Deborah
if you
Pence.
spoiled anything.
Deborah Pence, who just won a copy of Scream Team Releasing's The Barn on the Heart Syndicate giveaway. Mother of one of our writers, Morgan. She said, "I was upset they used that for the trailer as well. Totally ruined the scene." I guess she's talking about the babysitter scene where she's trying to, closet door. Shane Sinet says, "You guys are awesome." Thank you, Shane. You're awesome.
Yeah.
Frankie Carter says, "Bragger, ha ha ha." That was during Nathan's talk about seeing Halloween in LA.
No, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. Is right after Jamie Lee Curtis.
Nick Wood totally agrees with you, Nathan, and I guess your opinions of 2018.
I think he asked about the scene, my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Joe Ridgely says, I felt it was too coincidental and far-fetched that the reporters ended up at the same gas station as Michael. Well, they were all in the same town. Dave King says, "Loomis sounded more like Alec Guinness to me," with the thumbs down.
Oh, baloney.
Let's talk about that soundtrack. Holy shit. From Sacred Bones Records, we had
John and Cody
Carpenter, John Carpenter, and I can't remember his name right now, who played guitar with them on tour.
Yeah, there's another guy. I can't remember his name either.
Yeah, I'm friends with him. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'll send you his name, Jared, so you can friend him too. But the soundtrack was pretty fucking spot on.
Daniel Davies.
Okay. And it had, those guys, especially Cody, and I know John Carpenter is like the master creator of like that 80s synthwave, dark wave sound. The soundtrack itself really wasn't that much synthwave. As much more of it was like it was more like the original soundtrack of Halloween. Those guys do synthwave music all through. Cody Carpenter has his own music that he releases. Cody Carpenter is John Carpenter and Adrienne Barbeau's son, and I was able to see them go on tour.
Yep.
I just thought about something. The thing about being far-fetched and coincidental that they made it to the same gas station. Michael's at the graveyard when the reporters go to the graveyard.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
And do you think he drove with that lady who was giving that guy the eye, like, "Hey"? I think he drove there with her, following them.
That's a good point.
Interesting, because she definitely looks
in the Christian
pull up in
the gas station.
I thought it showed him pull up, or was it the lady that pulled up? I guess
I don't know, but I think the way she looked, like she knew that. Hey, I think he definitely followed him from the graveyard.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Interesting.
I loved all those background shots at the beginning. Go ahead, Jared.
Pulled up in the Jeep that the dad and the son.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I think he pulled up in the
Either
Jeep.
Way, he followed them from the graveyard.
Yeah, he followed them from the
Right.
Good catch.
I love the scenes when at the gas station. I actually really enjoyed the gas station kills, and people were like, "Oh, Michael Myers doesn't take out people's teeth and throw them over there from the stall." It's like, we're starting over again. This is Mike Myers, the boogeyman. He can do what he wants. But it was really cool at the gas station when you see him in the background, just just pummeling everyone. He's beating everyone to death, and he just he takes the one guy's outfit, the mechanic's outfit, and then he gets his mask back.
They organically homage for H2O and Rob Zombie's Halloween in it.
All at the same time. I'm Joe Grizzly.
So I gotta ask.
If she would have said that, I would have died.
What, Ray?
When she was on the pot, if she would have just yelled, "I'm Joe Grizzly," I would have died.
So I just have to ask, while we're on kill methods, did you guys think he did the head smash too many times?
Yeah.
No.
I was gonna say he did that with like 4 different people, including.
I always liked that Michael was kind of hands-on a lot. I mean, he tried to strangle Annie. He used his hands a lot in the original film. When you start getting to Jason Voorhees, where he's got a chainsaw in one scene, machete in this scene, and
but Michael Myers, I never saw him as being excessive. Like, he strangled 2 people in the first movie. He got Bob once.
Yeah.
And that was it. You know, I mean, the only person he was excessive to was his sister.
Ever since Friday the 13th came up, everybody had to raise the bar with kills, because I mean that's why Michael got more violent in part 2. I mean, if you start being that tame now, like that kid says when they're walking, 5 people, that's all he killed. That's kind of tame, you know, in today's world. Yeah. We're seeing people get mowed down in public every day now. So, you know, how he killed 5 people 30 or 40 years ago, that's not a big deal now. So I think they had to have him violent, because I've seen a lot of people say that he's really violent and kind of Rob Zombie violent in this one.
Yeah,
he was that violent in part 6, and you know, when he was killing people in Kurtz.
Look what he did to Brady.
Yeah, Brady.
Well, I think Rene did a good job capturing Michael Myers, the boogeyman, in his short film. You know, like you said, Nathan, like he only killed 5 people in the first movie, and it wasn't really bloody what he did to them. Yeah. The blood's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre; it's all off screen. Where Rene, when you did the Spirit of Haddonfield, it was, you know, it was how many minutes long? 14 minutes long, 15. You essentially just had Michael Myers like stalking this person and making this person fear for their life, and I think that you really captured that intensity without being intense. You know what I mean?
Really quick about the 2018, and then I'll talk about that. But I've been reading, and I totally agree with it, that the new Halloween and the original Halloween, the new Halloween is basically the love child of the original and Rob Zombie mix. You got an eloquent splash of, you know, off-screen deaths, and you got some torturous, brutal-ass kills right in your face. So I thought that was. But to touch on the Spirit of Haddonfield really quick, I know this isn't geared towards this conversation, isn't geared towards that. But that was the trajectory from the beginning, was just building suspense. I wasn't trying to, you know, have a lot of blood and guts and what have you. I just wanted people to, the whole essence of where is the shape. That's really what I was going for in Spirit of Haddonfield, not knowing where he's at. And you know, the gore was minimal, but that was definitely a creative choice from the beginning. Just keep it simple. That's not what I'm going for. But yeah,
that was my hope when they talked about making the new one. Was I thought that they were going to go back to that slow burn, methodical, suspense building, patient filmmaking. And I mean, they said the original cut was like 30 minutes longer than this, so maybe David did do a little more pacing, a little more suspense building, but they had to trim it all down. Maybe he just had to rock and roll because of modern audiences and how bored they get.
Yeah, hopefully
Halloween now people would say it sucks because they would say, "Oh, it's so slow. It's just a girl walking around for 40 minutes."
Well, that was one of
we got that.
The chunky kid tries to kiss her. God damn.
Well, just to touch on that a little bit, that's definitely how society is programmed these days. You know, it's like every horror film is almost a structure where you have to abide by the kill every 4 to 6 minutes type thing, or else you're going to lose your audience. But with that being said, I definitely did feel that the new Halloween definitely had, it didn't have as much atmosphere as I was hoping it would. Like, you know, and I don't know if, like you were saying, that there was a 30-minute cut longer. Haddonfield to me is just as important of a character as Michael Myers and Dr. Loomis, and the whole Haddonfield vibe in the new movie just wasn't really present as much. There weren't any establishing exterior masters of the town that that's, and whether people agree or disagree that we used too much in our short film, that's something that I really wanted to set up. Was, you know, we have these characters that live in this universe, but more importantly, this is the town that it takes place in, which is, in my eyes, just as important of a character. And with the new movie, it just felt like a lot of compressed dialogue filled filled scenes back to back to back to back. There wasn't a lot of, dread and setup to the environment they were in. It was just kind of the scenes clustered together. But that was just one take I had on it.
That's really interesting.
Well, it's true though. That's one of the things that was different from this to the original is the stalking aspect. Michael, and I just attribute it to being locked up for 40 years. He just went after it.
Yeah.
Like one of my favorite shots in the whole movie was when the lady was on the phone, and she looks out and the camera's just looking right at her, and you see Michael walking down the alley behind, and then I love that. Except for he stabbed her right in the throat. I didn't like that, but like for the most part, one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
I was actually expecting her to like shut the blinds, and then you hear.
Yeah.
I thought that would have been more effective if she shut the blinds, and then you see like some kind of blood shadow splatter on it. That would have been pretty fucking cool.
I hear you did like what 10 different versions of that.
Really?
Yeah, and they did try different things. Like I think the Miss Elrod's kill was a little more violent in some takes, and originally it wasn't a baby; it was supposed to be her husband asleep on the couch, but the actor didn't show up, which like fucking extra to sit on the couch. But
funny because Jamie Lee Curtis actually came out that she voiced the baby.
Probably because it was a last minute thing on the day of the actor, which we've all been through.
So I have a question for you guys. Do you feel like, because there were child deaths that were shown on screen in this Halloween 2018, there weren't any child deaths in 1978's Halloween. Now, with that being said, do you feel that Michael Myers was out of character when he did not kill the baby?
No, I think I was thinking about that earlier today. Yeah. The reason when he walks to that crib, there's this I at least felt, is he going to kill that baby?
Yeah,
I kind of felt
I did
that.
too.
The only reason I think that happens because he murdered that little boy in the beginning, the first kill. Because at that point, we realized nobody's safe.
He would. Well, yeah, but I don't think he would have killed that kid if the kid wouldn't got back in the car.
I also don't think he would have killed the kid if he didn't have a gun on him.
Yeah.
So he's a predator.
The kid came out looking for his dad, and he had the gun.
The kid already popped one off at that point. So,
do you think it was a wise decision that they didn't kill the baby? You think people would have left the theaters?
I think it would have pissed off a lot of late art people.
But I don't think people would have left the theater. I think there would have been a lot of people pissed off.
A 7.5 on IMDb would have probably been a 5.3 if he killed that baby.
Yeah.
Maybe even lower.
But the fact that he made us feel like that David convinced us that he might actually do that. We would have never thought about that before that movie.
I know, because you just hear the lingering cries of the baby, like, oh my God, what is he going to do?
Just kind of glances as,
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
That decisiveness of it, like he walks out and he looks around and then he looks and sees the late girl getting in the car, which she's dressed like a nurse, which is another nod to part 2. The whole scene's a love letter to part 2. Well, she gets in the car and he goes in.
I was just gonna say I like that he actually kind of does decide who, because he was unleashed on Haddonfield. The streets are full of kids, full of people, even adults, and he still is choosing who he kills. He didn't kill the baby. He went to 2 different houses or whatever it was. He's not just like that's one of the things I was thought was lost at first on Michael, was he always, I don't know if he had a plan, but always seemed like he had a plan and methodical about what he did, and I think he still is because of the decisions he was making. I don't know. Maybe he just I don't know. He's a fucking psychopath. I don't know why I'm trying to make him sound like he's smart. Or
you're justifying his actions.
Yeah, I'm justifying his actions.
He has an agenda, but he's also aimless.
Yeah. Well, the question is, what is his agenda this time?
True.
If he's got one,
he doesn't have the pull that Lori is his sister in this one. Like, what is his agenda?
Yeah, I mean, is he trying to find her because that's the last piece of the puzzle, or does he even care? Like, why did he go back to Haddonfield? Is it maybe that's the only road he knows because he was doing very well last night. But
That's the only road he knows.
I think he was going after Lori. I think when the very beginning was crucial when the two journalists brought back the mask and like there was just that invisible force that just kind of set everything off, and I think that was him continuing where he left off. I think he was looking for Lori. So I mean, like, but it was cool. It was a really cool concept seeing that that one shot, that stabilized shot following him through the houses as he's killing people in their own homes, and then the baby, and then go into the next home and kill the next person. Like I really enjoy when filmmakers make that approach to do a single shot scene. And it's kind of like watching like a theatrical performance, because you think when you see a movie like a 5-second shot could be a 12-hour day, and you see that like single shot, how many takes was that? You have to rehearse that. Everything has to be fluid, and you think about the stuff going on behind the scenes. Everyone needs to get their mark, and you can't do it with tape. You don't have any tape to put on the floor to get to your sets. You have to keep repeating it over and over again. Movies like that, like the action movie The Protector, when he's fighting all the henchmen up those spiral stairs, like that's an intense. And so I give props and recognition to those single shot scenes that look like they shot it in like a half hour.
And most people don't notice it. I wanted to go on. I say I haven't said anything. Guy today was talking about it, and he was bitching about the CGI stab in the neck. And I'm like, did you understand that scene took so much choreography and so much planning? And like, how would they practically pull that off, asshole? I mean, really? You're doing all this stuff. Like, that's someone who doesn't understand filmmaking. It's like, you can't do a one-er that long and actually have a practical knife come out of a woman's throat, and she's been walking around on a phone. And that's like how many times you'd have to redress her wound and all that gag, even if you could fucking figure out how to make a knife come out of somebody's throat.
Yeah, like
it's like
do it. CGI was the only way to do it. So appreciate that they were like you're not appreciating what it took to shoot that shot.
I feel like the stigma of like terrible CGI needs to die off, because we're far above that now, where CGI looks pretty damn fucking good, especially if you have a big budget production. We're not watching Sharknado or Michael Myers fight the Sharknado. It looked legit and
served its purpose.
Yeah,
it's so fast. I mean, it's out.
Long live practical.
I mean, I love practical, but you can't pull that shot off. Practical.
Yeah, that's like one of those times. But the rest of the movie had practical effects. Like when she blows off his hand in the final fight scene, like they used like the cosmetic hand. It like a lot of the kill scenes were practical. It was just that single shot, where like you said, a babysitter gets stabbed through the throat. They needed to do it because
they could have cut it and fucked up the shot. The whole intention of that shot. They could have done a cut, because the only way you can pull that off is with a cut.
What if the squibs never went off? Then it's another take, and it's another take. But I give props to where it was due. I want to read some more comments on Facebook land. We'll get back into this conversation. Brandon Michael assert Halloween has more alternate universes than DC Comics. I don't think that's true.
That's funny though. It made me laugh.
Jennifer Pence, I need that soundtrack. You can get this soundtrack on sacredbonesrecords.com. They also have it on vinyl. Frankie Carter, the music sting when Laurie's granddaughter sees the shape for the first time was epic, and that got 2 hearts.
Yeah, that was cool.
She didn't scream when she saw her friend dead though, but she screamed when she saw Michael.
Hey Brian,
weird.
Brian, skip over the next one and read it last. Okay.
Skip over what?
The one Nick Wood said about the ending. We'll save it.
Yeah.
Brandon Michael assert Halloween was too sloppy as continuation sequel story. There wasn't a methodical planning at all. Methodical planning at all. I don't know what's wrong with my language today. He's a serial crusher.
Okay.
You Crusher. How many felt the house should have blown up? And that was all from Brandon Michael Assert.
Considering there was gas pumping into the basement, yes, the house should have blown up.
Brian White, I don't understand why they think horror fans have attention spans that clock in at exactly 90 minutes and no more. If they cut 30 minutes, I hope we can see it restored.
Me too.
Probably.
That
We're
movie
not-
was much
Most of the
longer than
classic
90 minutes.
movies, most of the classics were 90 minutes. That was kind of the thing. You know?
Yeah.
If
I
it's an
think
epic movie like Jaws, you go 2 hours, you go 2.5 hours. But a slasher film,
we'll get our 2 hours in the director's cut on Blu-ray.
yeah.
Don't worry, we'll have all the producer cuts and
All the fat.
extensions. Yeah. Brandon Michael started again with Netflix series binge watched all the time by society. They could have made a 10-hour Halloween movie and people would have been fine with that. I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe.
Wouldn't have made $100 million, but yeah, that's cool.
Jennifer Pence definitely didn't feel like Haddonfield, and that seems to be kind of the thing that everyone pretty much agrees on, that it didn't feel like Haddonfield, but maybe we'll get Haddonfield in that extended 30 minutes that David Gordon Green kept.
That is a good point, though, because it did feel like they kind of glazed over that a little bit just too quickly. That whole scene did last 10 minutes, but then everything else was everywhere else.
Yeah.
It's also been 40 years since Haddonfield's been Haddonfield. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like you were saying earlier, like Rene was saying that, yeah, John definitely shot Haddonfield in the opening shots. That people love the opening of Halloween 4, which builds that atmosphere in Haddonfield, and so that definitely was missing. But it could have been, like I said, on the cutting room floor.
For sure.
Producers went in there like, no, we got to pump up the pace here. Get
Why are
those
you looking at
house
me?
shots out of here.
let's
I don't
bump up
feel
that
like
intro.
Because I had a producer one time like that. He's like, I don't believe in atmosphere, and I'm like, it's so important.
He is a crazy person.
Charles Thomas, this is the final comments that we have right now until we get more. The next round of comments we'll read towards the end of the show. So this is the last one for now. But continue commenting. We'll read them at the end of the show. Charles Thomas, how do you think the next Halloween will start?
Well, hold on. That's kind of a two-part question with that other question.
You should maybe save that towards the end, too.
The one that you said before, that didn't Jamie Lee Curtis make the bus crash? No, the theory is that Laurie Strode did, not Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think the doctor did.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the doctor, because he was the only one who wasn't really hurt until he was shot in the fucking chest.
That wasn't part of his plan. I bet when he woke up in the hospital from his being out, God damn it, I miss it.
That scene had me cracking up. And you know what? You guys were talking about seeing it in theaters with fans or with the general public. I went on a Saturday morning where a ticket was $7.30 at the AMC, and the people who went in were avid horror movie lovers. I mean, they even brought their kids in, but the kids were silent. It was one of those.
There was a
rare
2-year-old
moments.
in mine too. He didn't. I heard nothing from him.
Yeah. It was one of those beautiful, rare moments where no one's talking, everyone's laughing at the right spots, the kills, everyone's cringing really loud and applauding. But it was at 10:30 in the morning, so it was one of those rare, genuine moments where it's like waking up to an HBO special before your parents wake up. But I had a lot of fun with that crowd. And you know what? We haven't really touched on this before we get to the big stuff. The question that Ray wanted to hold off on too. What did you guys think about the younger generation, Strode, the granddaughter and her friends? Do you feel like the friends storyline was kind of a filler, kind of there just to be there, and the relationships, and then the one kid being Lonnie's son from the first movie? Or do you think, I don't know. Let's go.
I mean, we know the arc of Laurie Strode. We've gotten the character development on the main players, so that, in my eyes, was just their way of peppering in as much backstory for these new characters that we're going to see in subsequent films coming up. So they're just kind of,
because there's dynamics of youngsters in the previous one too.
Yeah, I mean, and if they didn't have those scenes, people are going to complain about that. They're just one-dimensional characters. It's just so ridiculous. Regardless of how good or perfect you think a movie is, in someone else's eyes, they're going to fucking hate it. And I'm really kind of flabbergasted at how some fans are receiving this film. Just like tearing it apart. Yeah, it's not a perfect Halloween movie. It's not a perfect Halloween movie. I wouldn't say it's a great Halloween movie. It's just above good, just below great, because it does have some content in my eyes. But people are just fucking brutal. Just worst Halloween movie in the franchise. Like, why? Why do you think that? I had a lot of fun with
Halloween Resurrection.
I liked all the kids. I thought they were told. People say there's no character development. I'm like, how much did you know about Bob? About Linda.
About Paul. You know about Bob.
We know that Linda was a cheerleader and she left her school books at school all the time, and she's boy crazy and she likes beer and she gets killed. I mean, we really don't know. Annie and Lori are the only two that we really get to know in that movie, other than Loomis.
That's not true. You get to know Paul, but way more than Bob for sure.
We get to know Paul. You know, he gets songs written about him.
real quick. We did cut off a comment from Zane Hook. I think the babysitter friend and the stoner guy could have been cooler characters, but I figured they get killed off, and they did. I like the homage to Bob.
They had a cool dynamic.
I like them a lot. I love, like, somebody talked about the babysitter. I was having a conversation. Craig Misery was talking about it, and I do that scene where she's talking to the boy and she goes, "You're like one of my least favorite kids," and then she leaves the door and she comes back. "I'm just kidding. You're my favorite." Mm-hmm. That made me love her so much. Made me love those two characters.
Yeah,
that was a great line for her to say that.
Yeah, their dynamic was awesome. I think that was probably one of my funnest parts of the movie.
And I loved Jamie Lee Curtis was talking about that the relationship between babysitters and the kids they babysit, because you're not a teacher, you're not a parent, you're really a peer. And there's a special bond between kids and their babysitters, and that really showed it in that movie.
Yeah,
as much as even Annie and Lindsay in the original, and Lori and Tommy.
Yeah, and how they talk to each other really like sets up their relationship. It's not like the girl came over for the first time to babysit this kid. Like, they have a genuine relationship, and I feel like David Gordon Green did a really fantastic job setting that up for them, and then the actors, of course, being themselves in the scene, and it just really flowed beautifully, and it was a shame, but the rest of the comment, Bob with the stoner friend. I like the homage with Bob with the stoner friend, but was upset when they killed him. Poor Bob. He didn't get the motorcycle scene though. I don't remember that.
He went to the garage when yeah.
And then he dropped it like an idiot.
That was to distract him, get him out of the house. So
yeah.
That was an homage to Resurrection because it took place in a garage where Busta Rhymes cameras are set up.
I thought it was funny and almost like a hip approach where they just had stoner kid character full in frame and he just hits the joint. Sick. That's all he's sick.
What did his tattoo say? It's 1031 something.
I like that kid though.
103118.
103118 because they were going to get laid that
night. That was the tattoo on his arm.
Oh, is that what it was about? I assumed they'd already been sexually active.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was the name of the incel? The kid who was just like the one who is like the best friends.
The best friend, chunky guy.
The chunky guy. I call him the incel because he's just like, I'm a nice guy, and I thought this is what you wanted.
You deserve something better.
His name's Oscar, and that's actually a question that I wanted to ask to you guys, because personally, one of the most intense scenes in the whole film, in my eyes, was the motion light scene.
I love that.
That was pretty fucking cool.
It was a great scene, but part of me felt like, while I get what they were doing with the funny banter going on with him kind of chopping it back and forth, it felt a little too loose. It felt a little too improvised. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's the direction that he gave him. Like, here are some of the lines, and just kind of go off and ramble. It felt like it was like a little bit too much ramble on Oscar's character. But
they kind of made it feel like he knew the guy's yard he was running through.
Yeah, that's what
so he kind of felt like he thought he was talking to the guy that lived there. But I mean, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
It might have been a little bit more suspenseful if there was 50% less of that kind of funny dialogue talking to Michael Myers as he's approaching him.
Yeah,
because it was supposed to be set up as a really suspenseful scene, but you know
he probably shouldn't have been. It should have probably been a little stretched a little more, and like you said, he wasn't afraid of the guy too long enough. He thought it was all right, and when he disappears, and it's like that brief moment before he tried to stab him, that he got scared. He got scared of it. Oddly enough, I know the guy that doubled for that kid in that scene.
Was it Danny McBride?
Yeah, it was Danny McBride doubling for him. Those guys
I was actually expecting him to make a cameo, and he didn't.
I liked Oscar's death, though. It was just the right amount of gore for his character, getting his face impaled through the fence after getting stabbed.
That one was for the Voorhees fans, I think. That reminded me of the Jason kill.
Yeah.
What was really quick, I don't know if you caught this, but I thought it was really interesting. It's just they didn't film it or there was an afterthought, but basically Oscar, he's hanging and he gets stabbed in the back, and in the next shot you see the post through his mouth. So they didn't show him falling on it. I wonder if that was an afterthought.
I think it was after. I think he fell on it after he was stabbed. I don't think Michael actually did it to him.
Yeah.
That's the amazement of Blumhouse. They just throw it in there.
Hmm.
How about those Blumhouse trailers right in the beginning, like Happy Death Day 2?
Dude, that looks bonkers.
The first one was fun.
I really like the first one, but I mean, this
Isn't it Happy Death Day to You or something like that?
Yes. Happy Death Day to You.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We haven't really talked about trailers much regarding the Halloween actual trailers, but do you guys kind of think, I mean, granted, that's how it is these days. 2% of the film lives online prior to its release, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a kick in the dick, because a lot of the anticipation on these iconic scenes that they set up are, you see the setup, you see the babysitter in the room talking to Jillian, and you're like, okay, when are we going to see her trying to close the door? So I get what they have to do, it's the catch and release, but
how more effective would have the bathroom teeth scene would have been had they not shown it in the trailer?
That's true, but when people bring that up, and it's true we see too much, but you watch the original Halloween trailer, it's a lot of stuff revealed in the original Halloween trailer. So I don't know. It's almost like the trailers back in the day, they just kind of showed you whole scenes.
Yeah.
Showed you like 5-minute trailers of the entire movie.
It was.
Halloween. It was the first trailer for Halloween.
I eat your skin and I drink your blood. And it's just like you see the whole like both movies in 5 minutes.
But the difference is we didn't have the internet, so we couldn't watch it again and again and again and again.
I don't know about you guys, but I say let's bring back the Friday the 13th Part 6 and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 type of trailer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just not showing you a goddamn thing. You know who these characters are. You know what they do.
The Chainsaw remake one that you just heard the girl screaming and the chainsaw. The remake.
All you need is a teaser.
I mean, Halloween has 10 movies before this. I mean, if you just put Halloween on the screen coming October 19th or whatever day it is, people are going to go see it. It's going to put butts in seats. I would, especially. I remember Adam Driver said he didn't want anybody to see anything for The Last Jedi before it came out. And sometimes maybe that'd be a great way to get people in the seats. What the fuck's going to happen? I don't even know if Michael Myers is in this movie.
Could have another season of The Witch for all.
Yeah, I mean. By the way, I remember in 1990 seeing Season of the Witch for the first time, staying home Friday night from Friday Night Bowling. I was 10 to watch Season of the Witch because I'd seen 1, 2, 4, and 5, never seen the third one. So I'm like, what happens? Waited for the entire movie, never saw Michael Myers.
But how do you feel about the movie now? How do you feel about the movie now?
I love it now. I also
think
that it's cool to like that movie now.
Great movie.
Yeah, I'm starting to think it's really cool for people to say they like that movie.
It's like the hipster thing.
Is it
Yeah.
hipster
You
now?
like
It's
Halloween?
a horror thing. Oh, I love Season of the Witch. It's great.
It's a fun standalone.
You'd be surprised though, Ray. I mean, there's a lot of people that genuinely hate that movie, and
Oh, I know.
whenever I ask them why do you hate it, and they're like, it was stupid, it was dumb. Mike Myers wasn't even in it, and that's
I
what
always
I
say,
just.
well, you know,
That's
the
a
Godfather.
pretty-
Didn't have I said the Godfather didn't have Michael Myers in it either. So
I did like that they had the silver shamrock masks in this
Yes.
one. That was fucking badass.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yes.
was cool. They pretty much covered every movie, I think. I don't know about Halloween 2, the zombie Halloween 2, because I only watched that one.
party
Actually, I watch
scene.
it every day when I sit on the toilet, but yeah, I've only watched it one time, so.
When you do your true thinking.
It's funny, real quick, do you remember our conversation with Sean Clark from Horror's Hallowed Grounds, Jared?
Yeah.
About I asked him, where the fuck are your Horror's Hallowed Grounds episodes for Halloween's 2, 4, 5, and 6? And he said they're on the special features disc. I'm like, I've looked all over that box set. Where the fuck is the special features disc? He's like, oh, it's in the Halloween 2 case. I'm like, oh, I've never pulled that out. The Halloween Rob Zombie 2.
It's not that bad of a movie. I know that people like
You're a millennial.
yell at me and
That's
tell
no-
me to go
you
kill
can't say.
myself. But
It's not
Halloween,
good either.
it was. I didn't have a problem with it. I've seen worse movies. I've seen the remake of The Fog. Okay, I've seen worse movies, but it wasn't that bad.
I could not sit through the remake of The Fog.
You've seen the
Oh.
remake of The Fog? I
Oh my
fucking own it.
god, you.
Yeah, I own it.
I couldn't finish it.
I went on a double date in high school when I saw The
I thought
Fog.
it felt like I was watching a CW version of a John Carpenter movie.
Not even. It was. I felt like a CW movie of a CW TV series. That's what it felt like.
We're getting off track here.
No, I completely understand. But hey, it's John Carpenter. But I really like that. We're getting closer to time. I really like that the ending of Halloween kind of led to like, what do you think happened? Like people say it after the credits.
Yeah.
I think there was a final scene.
We're so conditioned for that now. Like, there's got to be another scene, right?
Mm-hmm. So, what did you guys think
What
of
about
the
the end
ending?
credits?
The ending. We're gonna go into the ending.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the credits. I was like, I love the end credits. But no, this is funny. This comment by Zane Huki, I don't know. It says also something that barely anybody noticed since Halloween 2 is basically or is ignored. Ben Tramer, is he still alive? Anybody remember him? Well, Lonnie's still alive. But yeah, Ben Tramer. I wonder whatever happened to him. Why did they make Lori just marry him?
Is that one of Lori's failed marriages? He had two
That's what
love
I'm wondering. Yeah, it's a good question. He's in Russellville, is what Frankie said.
Russellville.
Excellent. So you want to go into the ending, like?
Yeah, while we're at that 15-minute mark.
Yeah.
And then when we go across the ending, do anybody has any last issues? We can discuss that.
I want to do the ending and talk about the potential of a sequel and where it would take off from the ending, because that's one of the questions we got.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this down the line again. Rene, let's hear from you. What did you think of the ending, bud?
The ending, honestly, it really flew by really quick. I don't know if it's because I was so immersed into it, but by the time they were riding in the back of the pickup truck, it was like, wow, that felt like it was like a 2-minute sequence.
Yeah.
I thought it was effective. It was definitely an interesting approach where he was set up and basically put in a trap at the very end. I liked it, but it went by so quick. But that just goes to show of how immersed I was into the film at the time.
I think it has to do with the tension too, because that whole scene where she's going to the closet, you know, that really, like, I'm like, oh God, is he in there? And then you see me in there, really, Ray.
I thought the character reversals were pretty
Yell
cool.
my name, by the way.
R. Kelly's in the closet, right?
He came out of the closet.
But go ahead, Rene.
No, I was just saying that towards the end, it was fun seeing the character reversals.
Yeah.
You know, there were blatant homages, but it was pretty cool.
All right, Nathan, what did you think of the ending? Twice after you saw it.
I really liked it. I liked Judy Greer's faking out Michael, and I love that they all three team up to take him out. By the end, that Allison has to pick up the knife and join in on the fight, and that she's still holding it, which made me, there's a lot of, we talked about that ending, and people were questioning what that means.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking that.
There's so many possibilities with it, which, because a lot of people are saying Halloween 4 and it's Daniel Harris holding the knife thing. And I just wonder if, like, they know that Michael's not dead and, like, she's holding the knife, because another thing everybody always bitched about is Jamie is always throwing the knife and the thing in the first movie. He's still holding it, and it's like, but she's holding it because she's fought. She's a fighter now, and but maybe she has that knife because it's not over, and they know it, because maybe they did see Michael get away, and we're just not seeing that, or because we see that shot, the last shot of the basement, and Michael's not standing there anymore. He's not.
Right. You don't see him in the shot.
Which my friend, that was my friend's biggest hype. Like, he goes, she spent 40 years waiting to kill him, but she didn't watch him die. She didn't, like. I was like, well, is the audience supposed to sit there for 15 minutes, watch him burn, and watch him go down and take the ashes? I mean,
were they expecting the end of Halloween 2 where he's on the ground laying there engulfed in flame? I mean,
Well, they didn't do that in any of the movie. I mean, Part 4, did they climb down into the mine shaft and find his body? And, like, they just go back to the house and say, yeah, Michael Myers is dead.
I did read a rumor somewhere that they had like made the mask all burned up and melted. So like Resurrection, that's another nod to Resurrection, because his mask was like melted on his face.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if that's something we'll see, like an alternate ending on the Blu-ray.
You can't take it off now.
Yeah, that's his face.
Yeah.
Have you guys read about what the alternate ending actually was?
No. Please inform us.
Yes.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's leaked onto YouTube already, but basically there's an altercation in front of the house, and there's actually footage of that used in the trailer where you can see Greer, I can't remember her name, but that's Jamie Lee Curtis that slices him. And he, like, catches her, and that actually never made it into the movie, but that was a part of the original outro sequence where there's a crossbow involved. And basically he gets shot, and the way they initially were going to end it was the Shape, essentially, as they get out of leave the scene, the Shape walks into the woods. And that was kind of the original ending based on what I've been reading, which would have been interesting.
I wonder how many endings they played with while they were...
Yeah, there's definitely a crossbow down in the basement in her arsenal.
Oh, I love Karen's gun with her KS kitty. There's a lot of cool things like that, like the how the dad gets killed with kind of like the same way that PJ gets killed in the original, being strangled with a phone wire. He's got the
jingle bells
or whatever. But so in the early in the movie, you see there's multiple ones, and when he comes out on the porch, there's only one set there. So there's a lot of visual nods that I picked up on the second one.
I guess they'd be called wind chimes where you come from. Jesus. I'm an idiot.
Jared, what did you think of the ending?
I thought it was very interesting because you knew it was a panic room. You knew it was a place for them to hide, and they can, reload their weapons and come back and fight and attack again. But once it flipped around and you realized, oh my God, it's a fucking trap now. The house is blown up.
That was another complaint I kept seeing, was people saying, well, Judy Greer, actually, she didn't know that was a trap. And I was like, I don't think she realized that until that moment when she said it.
She was
thought it was meant.
Like shooting stuff and like working in the basement. Pretty sure there was
my
a
wife's
part where
talking.
I saw her like messing with those stakes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that.
The little girl was the one that actually was like installing the stakes in there and stuff.
Oh, when she was little.
My wife made a comment about how she remembers seeing Karen installing the stakes as a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when she was little.
I guess I didn't.
That was probably more of like a booby trap thing.
It would be a trap too.
Yeah.
Until at the end, Then I was like, well, wait, maybe it's a panic room. And then they tracked him, and I was like, no, it was a trap.
Yeah.
So maybe they were going.
They were trying to lead you to a panic room, but yeah, that was the twist. Ultimately, the ending kind of leaves you like leaning towards something ahead, and like Nathan was saying, when you see the truck driving away and her hand still holding that knife, like all I saw was fucking Michael Myers' hand. Like it's just like it just leads you to there's something else happening, and it's going to happen.
The sequel.
Not
Yeah, the sequel. Well, I think they've confirmed they're making a
THS was
sequel.
talking about what leads you to do that.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Ray?
Psychopath.
Everything that happened leading up to them getting into the back of the truck was great, and the role reversal, which a lot of people didn't like, actually, that I read, that they hated that it was a man bashing movie, which I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's 2018. It's fucking 2018. Get over it.
It's gonna be badass too.
And let me tell you something. Most horror movies in the 80s have a final girl.
Yeah.
Okay? Give me a fucking break. Anyway, because that I'm sorry, that really bugs me. But anyway, yeah, I loved it. I do have a lot of questions about focusing in on the knife at the end. Will they go a Danielle Harris, Jamie Lloyd route in the next one? It's just I'll keep wondering to myself, if they go into a next one, will it be a time jump like a year, or is it going to continue on this night? Which in a hospital, Haddonfield Memorial, or was it General? No, I don't know. I liked it overall. The ending, when I got up, I initially thought, well, that's just a run-of-the-mill Halloween sequel. But like I said, the more I think about it, and the more I read stuff online, the more the more I really don't want a sequel.
Mhm.
So, because I liked where it ended off, the Strode's girls together, and Michael's. I don't know. I like the ending, but I don't want another one.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. I feel like that this ended perfectly. There's no way that Michael Myers could have gotten out of that basement. Like in that final shot when he's not standing on the staircase, I'm pretty sure he was somewhere off on the side screaming that he was on fire. Like that's what I wanna believe. There's really no reason unless if
it makes another $200 million before.
Unless they want to make another $200 million.
They're already working on it now, man.
They're already working on it now.
Well, they were originally going to shoot them back to back, I heard, too.
Yeah. They held off until they saw the reception of bringing it back, and now everyone's on this train. LeBron James wants to produce.
As long as they
Friday
kill Gloria in the next one by hanging her off of a building and she kisses the mask and she falls into darkness. That's all I care about for the next one.
You just want Busta Rhymes to come back, admit it.
No, I don't want Busta Rhymes. I want LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes to come back and kick Michael Myers' ass.
If we're going to bring back LL Cool J, let's just bring back the shark from Deep Blue Sea. Let's say fuck it.
There you go. Really quick, it kind of has... not directly, but indirectly, kind of almost has the Halloween 5 type of ending where he's stuck in a cage, and it might be the type of thing where like 5, 6, 7 years goes past, and we're just like, motherfuckers, this is our ending, and then they just forget about it for a while. They'll cut it. It's probably not going to happen. He
comes back with the brand new mask, like a great value mask, just like he did in 4, 5, and 6.
That'd be Danny McBride's ultimate joke. Fuck you guys.
Let me read some of the final comments, and then we'll wrap this up. So Joe Ridgely, end credit scene. There is no end credit scene. Please, I hope you've seen the movie. If not, there's no end credit scene.
Noises at the end, but there is no end.
People were saying at the end was the song that John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis wrote that Jamie Lee sang.
Yeah.
In Halloween.
It is.
Yep. I wish I had you all alone. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but
I would have rather heard "Oh Paul" or "My Paul." I give you all. I'd rather heard that, but
you just hear heavy breathing from the mask, and they could end it like that. They could just be like, the imagery of Michael Myers will always live on, but. as for right now, he's burning to death in the basement cellar, and there's really nowhere for him to go.
What up?
But at least that's what I think. Zane Hook, I think they should have went into the traps of the house a little bit more, but that's just me. Maybe we'll see that in the director's cut or extended unrated cut.
I love that Laurie's like clearing off rooms and shutting it down.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
That was like a final boss level in like Resident Evil 4 or something like that. Michael T. Lombardi says the alternate ending Rene just talked about didn't test well with the audiences, so that one scene was reshot.
Okay.
Really quick, I thought that this was going to be Jamie Lee Curtis's death from a long time ago. Right?
Yeah.
I thought that they were going to retire her because she was like this.
I anticipated her dying too.
Yeah, she ain't going anywhere. They're going to make an H8O.
Yeah.
Like 101 years old? Still look good too.
Zane Hook says, leak script says Myers walked into the woods, takes the arrow out of his chest. He sits down upon the mannequins, takes a few deep breaths, and that's all you really see. Don't know if I would have liked that more or not. Sounds, yeah.
Him standing among them, and not sitting there, but standing among the mannequins kind of would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Walking into the woods would have been cool.
Nick Wood says, "Gotta go. Thanks for the entertainment. You guys are fun to watch." Thank you, Nick Wood. I hope to you join us for future episodes here on THS Lives.
Friday.
And Michael T. Lombardi with the final comment on Facebook Live tonight. David Gordon Green and McBride originally pitched a 2-movie story, but decided not to shoot the second until they saw how the first film was received, and that makes sense.
It just made $100 friggin' million.
Right. We'll see it probably in the fall of 2020.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be on a bigger budget. There's going to be Bollywood dance scenes. It's going to be a 3-hour-long movie, and we're going to bring everyone. We're going to bring Chucky. We're going to bring Freddy Krueger. We're going to bring Jason Voorhees. We're going to bring Critters. We're going to bring the Leprechaun.
Leo DiCaprio.
We're going to bring back Leonardo DiCaprio and the Titanic. That's going to
be the next mask. Actually, they're going to take a Leo mask and.
So
why not a Patrick Stewart mask? Come on.
So final words from you guys before we wrap this wonderful Halloween H4O episode up. We'll start with Rene. Any final words about the Halloween movie before we wrap up?
It's a whole lot of fun. Give it a solid 7.5 out of 10. Give it a B-. It's a fun film, but it has its flaws, and I very much welcome it into the Halloween universe and can't wait to add it to my collection.
Yeah.
I tip my hat to David Gordon Green and Danny McBride for a fun interpretation and iteration of the Halloween movie.
All right. Thank you very much, Rene. Nathan, any final words on the H4O?
Like I said, I think it's as good as any sequel of the franchise has had as a film. Putting it above 2 and 4, which are my 2 favorite sequels, it's hard because, again, I've loved those movies for half my life or more. So that's hard, but I think it's just as good as those 2 films are. So I think it's in that top 5, top 4 of all time. I think it's the best film we've had in 30 years for this franchise.
All right. Thank you very much, Nathan. Jared, any final words on the Halloween H4O?
It was fun. It does have its issues, like the guys said. I thought there were some scenes that I felt I had seen before. I mean, I understand that they are homages and stuff like that, but it's a really good time. I'm just gonna end with that.
All right, thank you very much, Jared. Ray, final words on H4O.
Dr. Loomis is just as important as Michael Myers. His presence has been missed by me from 6 on, H2O, and he was missed in this one.
I don't know how we fix that one.
It's
The
got-
voice on the tape wasn't enough.
It hasn't been right since Vincent Price was gone. So it's like
He was there in spirit.
Yeah, so I liked it. It was good. It was. I want to go see it again. Can't, like Rene said, can't wait to have it in my collection. I will watch it as a trilogy. So go fuck yourselves. I'm keeping the sisters in the thing. I'm gonna watch 1, 2, and 2018. And I can't, without words, explain how pissed off I am that it's called Halloween. I've said that so many times. Why couldn't
We
they
have-
give it another title?
I
We
agree.
have 3 Halloween movies now.
And then it takes me back to Rob Zombie's. Why did they just wait till 2008 to make that movie? Anyway, it was good. It's worth seeing in the theater. Go see it. It's actually, I think you should see it in the theater instead
I
of
agree.
waiting, because it's really worth it, especially if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it and you're watching this, what the fuck is wrong with you? But anyway, I liked it. It's a good addition, and yeah, go see it.
All right. Yeah, I agree with all you guys. I liked it a little bit more, but that's just because Halloween is my least favorite franchise out of all the horror franchises out there. All the big ones. I'm not including Puppet Master or fucking Leprechaun or anything. I'm talking about the big tiers. The big tiers like Psycho, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. But thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright, or you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Horror Jew. Up next, Jared. Jared, where can we find you, brother?
You guys can follow my face on Facebook at Jared Laterno, or follow my face on Twatverse at zombie_survivor. Thank you to you guys, Nathan and Rene, for being part of our power panel tonight. It was really cool talking with you guys about this.
Thank you, man.
Look forward to next time we have you both, individually or separate on the show in the future.
Looking forward.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, our president, Razor. Ray, where can we find you, brother?
Well, you can find me being very thankful that I didn't make Halloween Returns. The movie that got the axe and then Blumhouse. I do wish they would have stolen the title though. Although Returns is kind of anyway. You can find me on Instagram, hashtag 31and31, doing my horror shirts. Razor33 or Twitter doesn't matter to me. But follow the Horror Syndicate. Subscribe to our YouTube channel once we get to 100.
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram. Yeah, just subscribe to the Horror Syndicate because we're the cool kids.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray. Up next, director Rene Rivas. Where can we find you, my friend?
You can follow the production stuff that we're currently doing on my production Instagram at Rene Rivas Productions, or my personal at Rene_R_Rivas. Or you can follow or add me on the Facebooks at Rene R. Rivas.
All right. Thank you very much, Rene. Thank you for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. And of course, our other guests of the evening, Nathan Thomas Milliner. Nathan, where can we find you, brother?
In my cage in my basement, eating green bean. Nathan Thomas Milliner on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. And thank you for everyone who joined us on Facebook. Please go to thehorrorsyndicate.com and all of our pages, facebook.com/horror syndicate, Instagram /the horror syndicate, Twitter, the horror syndicate. And we also have t-shirts that you can buy from our website as well. They are listed on our Facebook page as well as our website. So please check it out. Please support and continue watching indie horror. We hope to continue to bring the best indie horror to you and come out with announcements every day, every week. New indie movies coming out, Kickstarters, all that fun stuff. And please support local indie artists as much as everywhere else, and especially in the horror industry. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great night, and thank you for tuning in.